Hi, this is Hi from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book to read for you. Today, book is Donald Duck Mountain Climbers from 1978. So let's get started. Huey, Dewey, and Louie sat in front of the television set. They were watching some mountain climbers. Their Uncle Donald Duck was reading. Uncle Donald, they shouted, look at those mountain climbers. They are really good. They could probably climb the highest mountain in the world. If you think they are good, said Uncle Donald, you should see me climb. Once upon a time, I was the very best mountain climber anywhere. Uncle Donald pointed to a photograph on the wall. Just look at the picture of me, he said. Whenever I went mountain climbing, I was always first to reach the top. I didn't know you was a mountain climber, Uncle Donald, said Huey. Why don't you take us to some of the big mountains? Asked Dewey. It would be so much fun, said Louie. You know, that sounds like a good idea, said Uncle Donald. I would like to do some mountain climbing again. The very next day, they packed their bags and walked down to the train station. Their friend Mickey and Minnie went to the station with them, and so did Pluto and Felix. Have a good time, shouted Mickey. And don't forget to be careful, said Minnie, waving her pink handkerchief. Carefully, said Donald. Don't worry. You are talking to an expert. I plan to show these boys a thing or two about climbing mountains. All night long, the train chugged along while Uncle Donald and his nephew slept. Then, in the early morning, it traveled through a long, dark mountain tunnel. When the train came out of the tunnel into the bright sunshine, the boys woke up. Wow, look at those mountains, shouted Louie. Did you ever climb mountain like those? Dewey asked his uncle. Donald Duck looked out the window at the white, snowy peak. Of course I climbed mountains like those, he said, and even higher. At the last train stop at an old-fashioned mountain village, carrying their bag, Uncle Donald and his three nephews walked down the main street. They stopped in front of the village inn. I'm Donald Duck, the mountain climber, said Uncle Donald. Do you have a room for me and my three nephews? Indeed I do, said the innkeeper, shaking Donald's hand. Let me show it to you. Huey, Dewey, and Louie were very excited. They wanted to climb right away. When can we start, Uncle Donald? They asked. Now, just a minute, said Uncle Donald. Mountain climbing is very hard. You will have time enough for that when you get older. The three of you can have a good time here at the end while I am climbing. Leaving the unhappy nephews at the inn, Donald went out to look for a store. He stopped in front of a store window filled with things for mountain climbing. Wow, he said, this is the place for me. I see everything I need. Good morning, Mr. Storekeeper, said Donald. I am Donald Duck, the mountain climber. You have come just you had come just the right place. Everything you need, even a good guide, Goofy my name, and I'm the best guide in the whole village. First you must have some good strong ropes and some metal spikes, said Goofy. Then you want a hammer and a climbing ladder. And of course you have to have a backpack and some skis, Goofy added, putting on his hat. Now just follow your trusty guide. Poor Donald could hardly walk under the load. Huey, Dewey, and Louie came out to say goodbye. Please, Uncle Donald, they begged. Won't you let us go too? Sorry, boy, said Donald. This mountain climbing is only for experts like me. You stay here. Looking very sad, said Huey, Dewey, and Louie, waving goodbye. This is This is certainly the life, said Guide Goofy with a big grin. He walked brushily up the trail. Poor Donald followed, huffing and puffing under his load. Someone must have slipped a ton of lead into this pack, he grumbled. Up, up, up they climbed. Goofy went so fast that he pulled Donald right along behind him. Finally, Goofy came to a steep cliff. He had to hammer steel spikes into the rocks for a foothold. Rock chips began to fall on Donald down below. Help, watch what you are doing, shouted Donald. He lost his hold on the rocks and went spinning out into space. Sharp rocks spattered all around him, and you called yourself a guide? Donald shook his hammer at Goofy. Suddenly, the rope carrying Donald back under a rocky ledge, he quickly hammered a steel spike into the rock so he could get a foothold. Just as Donald pulled himself up over the rocky ledge, snow began to fall. What do you know? Said Goofy. It's snowing. Yes, I know, snapped Donald. I can see. Donald strapped on his skis and started up the slope behind Goofy. They had not gone far when Goofy climbed and stuck when his stick hit a huge ball of snow. Down rode the snowball, knocking Donald flat on his back and covering him with snow. Back at the end, Huey, Dewey, and Louie were ice skiing. Then they rode downhill on a long sled, but after a while they became restless. They decided to look around the village. At the town square, they saw a big sign that said cable car to the mountaintop. Digging down into their pockets, Huey, Dewey, and Louie found just enough money to buy tickets for the cable car. Soon they were sailing high above the village. As they waved to the people down below, Huey said, this is the life. It certainly beat climbing, Dewey agreed. Swaying back and forth, the little car climbed steadily toward the faraway mountain peak. The boy felt as if they was flying. Far below, they could see two tiny figures struggling up the mountain, but they did not recognize their uncle, Donald, and his guide, Goofy. Look at those silly billies, said Huey. They must have started a long time ago. I bet we'll beat them to the top, said Huey. When the cable car slid into the station at the mountain peak, the nephew raced it out of the car and up the stairs to the lookout point. Huey grabbed the long black telescope and pointed it at the two tiny figures on the slope down below. One of the tiny figures was Uncle Donald, covered with a snowball and very surprisingly mountain goats. The other figure was Guide Goofy, stuck in a snowbank up to his wrists. The three boys rushed off to the surprise hunt as fast as they could go. Back they came with a long rope. Huey tied the one end of the rope around the railing of the lookout tower. Down, down, down it filled, corner after corner, until it reached the climbers far below. Tugging with all their might, Huey, Dewey, and Louie managed to pull the two frozen mountain climbers up to the top of the lookout tower. Goofy looked around in amaze. "Gosh," he said, "this is a really good view. I never climbed to the top of a mountain before." When Uncle Donald heard Goofy say that, he was too angry to speak. Squawking with rage, he threw his camping equipment all in directions. Then with a great shove, he pushed Goofy off the peak into the snowbank far below. "Now that you have seen the peak," he shouted, "take a good look at the bottom." "Come on, boys," said Donald. "We are taking the cable car down." "This is really fun," Donald Nephew shouted, as the cable car swayed back and forth. "Look at the view, Uncle Donald. Doesn't this feel just like a flying ship?" Poor Donald was feeling too sick to answer. "We love the mountain," said Huey. "Can we come up here again tomorrow?" Uncle Donald shook his arm with rage. The great mountain climber never wants to see another mountain as long as he lives. So that was Donald Duck Mountain Climber for 1978. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, have a groovy day. We'll have another video coming out real soon.